And it would seem that we are back. We are back. Welcome, 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 welcome. So we are, after a 5-hour stream and a big bunch of drafting for a really cool league idea brought up by Todd B with help from Big Clue, we're back now to do a ball game. So a project continuing here. And we are in round one of the KCCL, a league we named for Cousin Ken and his interest in, well, all things agricultural, right? Ken's no busher, that's for sure. Anyhow, so we are in game two, round one between these two dead ball titans. And there they are. Here comes the hardcores, Robbie Wartburg and Cousin Ken Castro saying, play ball. So Shibe Park, in this best of three, the 1911 Philadelphia Athletics will be our home team, and the 1912 Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox leading this round one tournament 1-0. And Yu Bedian will be starting for Boston, and for Philadelphia, looks like I got to go with Eddie Plank. Got to go with Eddie Plank. And now we need us a lineup. And I'm just going to let the computer select it because I can't be arsed. And it's a pretty good one. All right. Robbie says he's not sleepy, so feeling very hardcore. Let's get to the ballpark. And this time it decided to do the anthem. How weird is that? All right, welcome to Shibe Park for Game 2 of this playoff series between the 1912 Boston Red Sox and the 1911 Philadelphia Athletics. The Red Sox lead the series 1-0. Yu Bedian takes the mound for the Red Sox. He'll be opposed by Hall of Famer Eddie Plank, not taken by anybody, by the way, in our draft league. It's 56 degrees here in Philadelphia. There's wind speed of 6 miles per hour left to right, and we have light rain in the city of brotherly love.
Play ball!
Felipe Limedemelo back in. He said, you're still here. He says, different of my sleepiness. Do it. Play ball. All right, we shall. Let's look at the starting defense here for the 1911 Philadelphia A's. And only fitting that we should talk about, or introduce at least, Connie Mack's $100,000 infield. So at first base, Stuffy McGinnis. At second, Eddie Collins. At short, Jack Berry. At third, home run Baker. In left field, Briss Lord. In center field, Rube Oldring. In right field, Danny Murphy. Catching, Ira Thomas. Ira Thomas was ejected in Game 1, by the way, for arguing with the ump of balls and strikes. And Eddie Plank, Gettysburg Eddie, takes the hill. Plank's numbers in 1911 for the Philadelphia Athletics: a 2.10 earned run average, 23 wins, 8 losses, 4 saves, 256 2/3 innings pitched, walked 77, struck out 149. Leading off, none other than Tris Speaker. So Speaker's numbers in this tournament: hitting .600, 1 home run, 3 runs batted in. In his real season in 1912 for Boston, he had .383, 10 ribbies, 90 runs batted in. We're ready to go here. Plank's finished his warm-up pitches. Again, we have a little bit of rain falling here in Philadelphia, but ready to deal to Speaker, the 1-0. Speaker sends this to left field. Back on it is Briss Lord, and he will make the catch for out number 1, and we're on our way. Game 2 of this best of 3 in round 1. And these two teams, Titans, this is a game that took everybody by surprise, game one, as we thought it was going to be a lot closer. And the opposite happened, and yet a game that we thought was going to be one-sided ended up to be a 17-inning affair, and that was the 1914 Braves and the 1919 Reds. So they'll be coming up sometime next week. JT Dutch and World's Worst Gamer stopping in the ballpark. This has got a little bit of adrenaline going after the draft. By the way, he had to pass on Hack Wilson if he was available. Yes, he is a Hall of Famer. Yep. Game of the week. But first, we have Major League Baseball, an inside look. I'm Len Berman. Nice one, JT Dutch. Nice. Felipe talking about Stone Cold Hockey. And Robbie Wartburg, very familiar with that game. All right, Larry Gardner in the tournament has a home run and a run batted in. Hit .315 in 212. Eddie Plank winds and fires. The 2-0 pitch. Gardner swings on this one. Base hit to left. Bruce Lord up with it. Gardner going for two. The throw to Collins in the tag, not in time. So Larry Gardner with the one-out double for the 1912 Red Sox, and that brings in first baseman Jake Stahl. No RBI, hitting .500 in this series. He's one for two. Hit .301 for the Red Sox in 1912. 3 home runs, 60 ribbies. Gettysburg Eddie, the southpaw, winds and fires the 3-1 to Jake Stahl. Stahl chopper to short. Jack Berry has it, and Jack Berry bobbles it and drops it. So that's an E6, and Jake Stahl aboard thanks to the error. Larry Gardner will move to third. Runners at the corners for Boston, only one down. Here's left fielder Duffy Lewis, of course, a name still known to Red Sox fans in some capacity, as it has his name having something to do with a bit of the architecture at the time for Fenway Park. So Duffy Lewis, 333 in the tournament, 284 average for him. 6 home runs, 109 runs batted in. So Stahl at first, 13 steals in 1912. Larry Gardner at third with 25. So some speed on the base paths here. Duffy's cliff, says JT Dutch. Absolutely. And the 2-0 to Duffy Lewis. Cut on base hit up the middle. Lewis gets the RBI single coming into scores. Larry Gardner, and Boston tallies one here in the top of the first. Still only one out. And Duffy Lewis with 9 steals, so a little bit slower. And here's Heine Wagner, and I say it every game, no relation to Hannes Wagner. Wagner in the tournament, 0 for 4. In 1912 for the Red Sox, he had 274. Gettysburg Eddie winds and fires. The 0-1 to Wagner. Wagner swings, base hit, left field. Stahl rounding third as Bruce Lord comes up with it, and they're going to hold Stahl at third. Bases loaded for the Scarlet Hose, and that brings up catcher Bill Carrigan. Carrigan, nothing for 3. 263 average in 1912 for him. Stahl at third, Lewis at second, Wagner at first. Plank from the stretch to Carrigan. Carrigan chops this one to third. Baker has it. Throw home, out chance 31%. We're going to go ahead and concede the run. Hopefully get the double play. Baker to Collins to McGinnis, and indeed we made the right choice. So we've played one run, 3 hits, no errors. It's the Boston Red Sox 1912 1 and the 1911 Philadelphia Athletics coming to bat. Let's look at the starting defense for the 1912 Red Sox. At first base, Jake Stahl. At second, Steve Yerkes. At short, Heine Wagner. At third, Larry Gardner. From left to right, Duffy Lewis, the Gray Eagle, Tris Speaker. And in right, Harry Hooper. By the way, none of his years came up. There's a Hall of Famer that nobody's even picked yet. And I know we've had a couple of Harry Hooper years come up. Anyhow, Bill, that's more for Robbie Wartburg's. I was wondering about not only some Hall of Famers, but some good players out here. I'd take Jake Stahl on a roster, certainly. Bill Carrigan catching, and Yu Bedian pitching. By the end, in 1912 for the Red Sox, a 2.92 earned run average. 20 wins, 9 losses, 2 saves, 231 innings pitched, 55 walks, 122 strikeouts. So these pitchers fairly evenly matched. Home run Baker leads it off. Baker with a 200 average in this the KCCL tournament of 19th century and dead ball players. Not associated. This is not associated at all with our Ned McGreevy League. This is all different. Hit 334 for the Mac men in 1911. Eddie Collins waits on deck. Cubedian winds and delivers the 1-1. Baker sends this to center field. The Gray Eagle back on it and makes the play handily for 1 up and 1 down. Eddie Collins unable to solve Boston pitching in the first game. He's 0 for 4. Hit 365 in 1911 for the Philadelphia Athletics. Here's the wind from Bedien, the 1-2. Come back to the mound. This one deflects off the hill. Steve Yerkes has it on to Jake Stahl for out number 2. So groundskeeper probably needing to do a little bit of work here at Shibe. And it brings up Danny Murphy, the right fielder, hitting 400. So he is 2 for 5. Hit 329 in 1911. JT Dutch liking the reference of the Mac men. The base is empty. Bedien deals the 2-2. Danny Murphy base hit to right. Harry Hooper up with it. Murphy making the wide turn at first. He will hold there. So Danny Murphy in 1911 stole 22 bases for the Athletics. And McInnes in there now for the White Elephants. Proudly displaying that logo after sort of derisive assessment of the Philadelphia team by none other than John McGraw. And Mr. Cornelius McGillicuddy proudly taking the appellation and making it a wonderful logo. And to this day, they still have that, the White Elephant. So for anybody wondering, that was from John McGraw. Murphy at first for Stuffy McInnes. McInnes 2 for 4 in the tournament. He has a run batted in and a run scored. Danny Murphy stole 22 bases for the Athletics in 1911. Bedien brings it, the 1-2 delivery. And this one's going for extra bases. McInnes getting good contact on this one. Murphy rounding third. Lewis has the ball. And coming in to score is Danny Murphy as McInnes picks up the 2-out RBI double. And we are knotted at 1, bottom of the first. As Ken Castro says, most current fans know about Duffy's Cliff. I couldn't agree with you more, JT. In terms of Mr. McGraw, don't call him Muggsy to his face. Was a great manager, truly great. But he was grouch, but always fair to his players. Always fair to his players. Great manager. Everybody had a lot of fun tonight with the draft that we had. And it's not done yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Brice Lord will now bat. He's hitting 250 with 1 run batted in here in this big playoff that we got going on here. Hit 310 back in 1911. Stuffy McInnes at second in scoring position with 23 steals for this Philadelphia 9. Bedien winds and fires the count even on Lord. Fastball chopped up the first base. And Jake Stahl takes it unassisted to retire the side. But 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. We've played 1, and we're knotted at 1. Harry Hooper will lead it off, followed by Steve Yerkes and Hugh Bedien for the 1912 Boston Red Sox here in the top of the second. Red Sox handily winning game 1 of this best of 3. Gettysburg Eddie ready to deal. Here comes from the southpaw, the 2-1. Hooper, base hit to right. Lord up with it. Gets it in to Jack Berry. Harry Hooper at first, the right fielder, 29 steals. Harry Hooper, a great outfielder. Forgotten even by Boston Red Sox fans, unfortunately. Steve Yerkes now, second baseman. 1 for 3 in this tournament, and in 1912 a 252 with 42 runs batted in. Eddie Plank sets and checks. Harry Hooper, the wind, and the 2-0. Bjerke swings, chopped up the middle. Barry to Collins on the pivot to Stuffy McGinnis. And we have a good old-fashioned 6-4-3 double play. So 2 quick outs here for pitcher Ubedian. In 1912, he hit 192 with 7 runs batted in, 11 runs scored for him. Plank delivers the 0-2. Bedien swings, comebacker to the mound. Plank off the hill and onto McGinnis to retire Bedien. So the Red Sox go quietly, and we go to the bottom of the second. We're knotted at 1. JT Dutch, yes, he indeed did. Talking about Harry Hooper, wrote a wonderful memoir about his time in the major leagues. Brilliant, very, very, very educated, and an excellent, excellent outfielder. Yeah, and JT Dutch talking about McGraw being very fair to his players. He truly was. Because the whole baseball world came down on Fred Merkle in 1908, and then Fred Snodgrass in the 1912 World Series. And McGraw, gave them raises and called especially the way Merkle was treated in that infamous 1908 game against the Chicago Cubs. Don't need to recount that story. Folks that come to my channel know that one. All right, Rube Oldring will lead it off. He's a favor of Chris Delaware, lower, slower board gamer. And the Rubester having himself a pretty good tournament, 2 for 3 in game 1, with 3 runs batted in, and he did that with 2 triples. Ubedian delivers now. Here is the full count, and the payoff pitch, and Rube Oldring lays off the 3-2 and draws the walk. Oldring with 21 steals to his credit in 1911. Here's Jack Barry. Of course, part of the $100,000 infield assembled by Connie Mack. Jack Barry, nothing for 3 in a tournament, a 265 average in 1911. Ubedian peers in, has the sign from catcher Carrigan. Here's the wind in the 0-1 delivery. Barry gets the bunt down. It's a good one, as Carrigan will go to first to stall to retire him. And Rube Oldring moves into scoring position. 1 away here. Felipe and everybody just going all kinds of good stuff here. So like to see the chat blowing up a little bit. Ira Thomas now leads off, and as we said at the top of the broadcast, Ira Thomas ejected in game 1 for arguing balls and strikes. We've seen in every game in round 1 at least 1 hit batsman. We'll see what happens in this one tonight as we enter round 2. So Thomas 0 for 2, and again not seeing an entire game, but in 1911 hit 273. Oldring into his lead at second, 21 steals for him. Gettysburg, Eddie Plank waits on deck. Bedien with the wind in the 0-2 delivery, the fastball, and Ira Thomas looks at a called strike 3. This one pinning the outside corner. It's 2 away for Eddie Plank. He hit 191 in 1911, 10 runs batted in, 7 runs scored for Plank. Oldring, a pretty good lead, trying to test Bedien's move. Will he spin around on him? Probably not. The 0-1. Plank chops this one back to Bedien, onto Stahl, and that retires the side. So Philadelphia, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left. And we've played 2 here, and we're knotted at 1. Back at the top of the order for the 1912 Scarlet Hose and the Gray Eagle, Tris Speaker, be followed by Larry Gardner and Jake Stahl. Speaker in the contest fly to deep left back in the first. Plank fires it in. Speaker swings, base hit right field. Danny Murphy up with it. Speaker on first with excellent speed. 52 stolen bases in 1912. Larry Gardner is 1 for 1. Doubled back in the first. Speaker an aggressive lead at first. McGinnis trying to hold him close as Plank throws over. Speaker dives back under the McGinnis tag. Safe. McGinnis Speaker once again into an aggressive lead at first as Plank throws over again, trying to keep the Gray Eagle close. Plank with the check of the runner. And the delivery home. Larry Gardner chops the first pitch to Eddie Collins, who goes to Jack Barry, on to McGinnis for the double play. So 2 outs after keeping Speaker close. They're able to turn 2. And here's Jake Stahl. Jake Stahl was safe in an error back in the first. 1-1 your score here. 2 down, bottom or top of the third. Plank brings it, full count. And Jake Stahl looking at a call. Strike 3. That ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. Bottom of the third we go. And it's 1-1. Home run Baker. Eddie Collins and Danny Murphy due up for the 1911 Philadelphia Athletics. So we got some, apparently some hockey action going on. Robbie Wartburg was one of the beta testers, I believe, for Stone Cold Hockey. And he and Felipe and I believe World's Worst Gamer having a conversation about that game here at Shibe. Baker 0-for-1, fly to deep right center. Steps in on the left-hand side. Hugh Bedian has a strikeout and a walk thus far in this game. He winds and fires, count even on Baker, and Baker, this one, in at the knees and right down the middle of the plate for a strikeout. So Bedian picking up his second strikeout, and that brings up second baseman Eddie Collins, who grounded to second back in the first. Bedian delivers the 1-2. Collins cuts on this one, grounded deep to short. Heine Wagner up with it onto Stahl to retire Collins for out number 2. 7 total hits in this game for these teams. Each has stranded 2 runners. 1 error thus far, that committed by the Athletics. Danny Murphy singled back in the first. McGinnis waits on deck, 2 down. Bedian's 0-1 delivery, fastball. Base hit center field. Trespeaker coming in on it and plays it on the bounce, gets it into Wagner. 2 away. Danny Murphy in 1911 stole 22 bases. Stuffy McGinnis is 0-for-1. RBI double scoring Danny Murphy, making it Boston 1-0, and only lead lasting that half inning. Philadelphia would answer with 1 in the bottom of the first, and that's your scoring. Bedian brings it home, the 2-0. Murphy in motion, fly ball center field. Trespeaker has it in his talons, and that does it. 3 in the books here at Shibe, and we are tied at 1. Duffy Lewis, Heine Wagner, Bill Kerrigan due to bat here, the number 4, 5, 6 hitters for the Red Sox here in the top of the 4th. Lewis RBI single, scoring Larry Gardner, tying the game. Eddie Plank has 1 strikeout. Ready to deal the 1-1. Lewis swings, bounding ball to second. Eddie Collins bobbling the ball, keeping it nearby him though. So Duffy Lewis safe on the E4. Eddie Collins, very aggressive, excellence, great second baseman, but much like Hannes Wagner, would go after the ball and was prone to some errors. Hannes Wagner, of course, a player, I don't know if I'm being trolled by World's Worst Gamer, but World's Worst Gamer finds Hannes Wagner to be a very boring player. I hope to find a player that he will find exciting so that I can get Wagner on my squad. All right, anyhow, Duffy Lewis, 9 steals in 1912 on first. Heine Wagner is 1-for-1, singled. Plank with a 1-2 delivery. Wagner swings, base hit up the middle. Rube Oldring has it as Lewis rounds second, and he will stop there, though. 2 aboard for the Red Sox. Eddie Plank looking double play here as Bill Kerrigan stands in on the right side of the box. He grounded to third. He actually grounded into a double play. Plank brings it, the 0-1. Curve to Kerrigan, gets a nice bounce down, but Thomas is going to go to Barry, and onto Collins covering, and they get the double play. So how about that? A little sort of 1-6-4 and double play, and Duffy Lewis will advance to third for Harry Hooper. So go ahead run for the Red Sox, just 90 feet away, but 2 down here. Hooper grounded, or singled back in the second. Plank, the 1-0. Hooper swings, this one line to right, and Danny Murphy has it, and that ends the inning. So we are still tied at 1. And I'm going to change one little thing here as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out. Good, fun stuff. And let's set this to medium, which didn't change a damn thing. Trying to get the play-by-play box to, guess we got to go to large. Who knows? There we go, that's better. All right. So I look at this in the right corner. If there's something that the chalkboard isn't displaying or I think is a little questionable, I will look at this. All right, Briss Lord is, and also when you hover over here to get what the batter did. So for those of you unfamiliar with Action PC, this is one of the many, many cool things it does. So Briss Lord grounded out his last time. Bedian delivers the 1-2. Lord swings, base hit, left field, and that is hit number 4 for Philadelphia. So 10 hits between these two teams. And Lord with 15 steals in 1911. Rube Oldring walked back in the second. Lord decent lead at first. Bedian checks the runner, comes home with an Oldring bunting on the first pitch. Bedian's only play will be to first. Steve Yerke's covering. 1 out, and Briss Lord will advance to second on the play. JT Dutch says, laughing my ass off, Wagner's been called a lot of things, but boring I've never heard until tonight. Well, World's Worst Gamer, he actually does have power. So you have to remember that in the dead ball era, the power hits were the triples and stuff like that. Wagner actually had considerable power. But you can't think of power back in Wagner's day as we do now. But Wagner actually was a legit 5-tool player. Legitimately, he hit for power. But home runs were kind of a rarity. I mean, the way we think of a dead ball, it wasn't load him up, knock him out. Great base stealer, 8-time National League batting champ. Played, I think, he could play every position. The reason he was a utility man for the Pirates when he came along, Barney Dreyfuss, of course, had owned the Louisville Colonels, raided his own roster. The Colonels folded. The reason Wagner was a utility man for the Pirates in those very early years was not because he was a bad player, but because he was so good. He could play almost any position. Tommy Leach talks about that in Lawrence Ritter's Glory of Their Times, and also that same interview was quoted in the Ken Burns baseball documentary. But Wagner was a 5-tool player and probably modern baseball's first superstar. But if you still think I'm boring, maybe we can work out a trade, my friend. All right, Jack Barry in the box now. Briss Lord at second. Here's the 1-1 to Jack Barry. Barry, chopper to short. Heine Wagner up with it. On to Jake Stahl to retire Jack Barry. And moving to third on the play is Briss Lord. So 2 down. Philadelphia with the potential go-ahead run at third. And here is Ira Thomas. Struck out back in the second. So Ubedian with 2 strikeouts. From the stretch, the 0-2. And Ira Thomas not able to catch up to this one. Big swing and a miss. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 1 left. We've played 4. We're knotted at 1. World's Worst Gamer said he did take Bib Falk, and we'll forgive Robbie Wartburg for using a non-baseball term, unless he's still talking about. Oh, he's talking about hockey, so he's okay. I thought he was talking about this one, because there ain't no overtime in baseball there, Robbie Wartburg. World's Worst Gamer saying that he thinks his favorite baseball is 1920s, 1930s. Yankees Athletics baseball, so that kind of tells you something. Of course, a couple other teams you got to put there in the 1920s too. Yeah, great era, great time in baseball, 20s and 30s. I have to say, I haven't done a lot with the 20s and 30s on this channel. Need to do more. But I just love 19th century and dead ball, so there you go. Yerkes is 0 for 1. He'll lead it off here for Boston, followed by Ubedian and back at the top of the order in the Grey Eagle. So Yerkes grounded into a double play back in the second. Plank brings it home to 2-2. And strike 3 called. 1 up, 1 down for pitcher Ubedian. Grounded back to his opposite number. Last time up, Eddie Plank brings it to 1-2. Bedian, chopper to short. Barry ranging to his right and scoops it up and tosses it on to Stuffy McGinnis for the 6-3 putout. 2 up, 2 away. And back at the top of the order for leadoff man Trespica. Singled back in the third. Lefty batter. Lefty-lefty matchup, the 1-0. Speaker cuts on this one, chopped up the middle. Eddie Collins onto Stuffy McGinnis, and that will take care of Tris Speaker and the Boston Red Sox here in the fifth. And we're knotted at 1 as we go to the bottom of the fifth. JT saying the Ruthian era is a fun one, very powerful. He appreciates, but I do like the era before it, which can be called the Wagnerian era for sure, to show you how good he was. Indeed, he was. And outperformed the Georgia Peach in the 1909 World Series, the Pirates and Tigers, which reminds me, that is the one thing still hanging out there, the project that I have not finished. We have to finish that replay of the 1909 World Series, and in that one, which I think I'm going to wait and bring it into Out of the Park 24, but the Pirates actually facing elimination. Eddie Plank will lead it off here for the Philadelphia Athletics, and then back at the top of the order in home run Baker and Eddie Collins. Eddie Plank grounded back to Hugh Bedian, so each pitcher grounding to the other their last at bat. Bedian winds and fires the 1-2, and Eddie Plank swing and a miss. Hugh Bedian picking up strikeout number 4. Back at the top of the order now for home run Baker. Struck out back in the third. Bedian winds and fires the 0-2. And a high hop grounder to Wagner, and this is going to be close, and home run Baker able to beat the throw, so infield single. And that is hit number 5 for Philadelphia, and Baker has wheels. 38 steals in 1911. Here's Eddie Collins, nothing for 2. He's grounded out twice. Once to second, once to short. Eddie Collins is 0 for 6 in this tournament. Bedian checks Baker at first. The 2-1 to Eddie Collins. There goes Baker, and base hit, the hit and run. Frank Baker rounds second and pulls into third. So Eddie Collins, perfectly executed hit and run, clean single up the middle, splitting Yerkes and Wagner. So runners at the corners for Philadelphia. Danny Murphy is 2 for 2. 2 singles for Danny Murphy. Robbie Wartburg saying this would be a thing unheard of, though, for a player like Wagner get traded for being boring. I mean, I will say this, as far as off-field, he wasn't much of a showboater, that's for sure. But he would do cool things like after a 9-inning game, you know, go out from Exposition Park and then later, of course, Forbes Field. Kids be playing baseball out there, and he would play or go to his home Carnegie in Carnegie and play Sandlot baseball with kids. And weaved great tales. Joe Garagiola talked about with his brief stint with the Pirates, and Pie Traynor and Hannes Wagner be sitting on the bench at that time, both of them in management coaching positions. And Garagiola said he always regretted never having a tape recorder in the dugout listening to the great tales told by those 2 Hall of Famers. JT Dust says, I appreciate what it was. I'll tell you what, I love that different teams come back in the day they try different ways to win. That's why I love the 70s. Team had their own styles, so much variety. 1970s baseball's phenomenal. I think one of the great, that could be my, I think after dead ball, I think 1970s baseball, that's probably my favorite decade. I mean, I love the 20s and 30s. 40s are pretty cool too. 50s, 60s, but the 70s, great baseball era. Great baseball era. My first love, though, is 19th century in dead ball, but do love 1970s. And you're right, so many different styles. Bedienne from the stretch. Payoff pitch to Danny Murphy. Danny Murphy lays off. And now you Bedienne in a little bit of trouble with the bases loaded here. And one out for Stuffy McGinnis. McGinnis is 1 for 2. RBI double back in the first. Bedienne pitching from the stretch. Nowhere to put McGinnis. The 1-2. McGinnis. Oh, big strikeout by Hugh Bedienne. So tossing in a little bit of a saliva sphere there, if you will. So 2 away now. Pressure on Bruce Lord to try to get something done as McGinnis unable to catch up to the spitball. Bruce Lord 1 for 2. Singled back in the fourth. Bedienne from the stretch in the 0-2. And 2 strikeouts, and Hugh Bedienne picking up strikeouts 5 and 6 to pitch his way out of a bases jam situation. We go to the top of the 6th, and we are still knotted at 1. And so there is Aaron Reed. Son of a gun, he says. So Wordsworth Gamer says when he's looking for players, he's looking for 20 homers, 20 steals, 100 walks, 300 plus average. JT Dutch says so like Joe Morgan. And Joe Morgan never, ever a bad choice in any kind of fantasy draft. Larry Gardner is 1 for 2. Grounded into a double play, and he doubled back in the first. Eddie Plank with 2 strikeouts. Gardner swings, base hit up the middle. Rube Oldring takes it on the room service bounce. Gets that into Jack Barry. So Gardner with 25 steals aboard the go-ahead run, possible go-ahead run for the Red Sox here in the visitors' half of the 6th at Shibe. Light rain continuing to fall here in Philadelphia as Jake Stahl, sporting a 0 for 2, safe on an error back in the first and struck out in the third against Eddie Plank. The southpaw deals, throws over, and back in plenty of time is Larry Gardner. Plank now brings it home. Here's the 2-0. Jake Stahl swings, little chopper to third. Baker to Collins, but Gardner's slide will break up the potential double play. Stahl aboard in the fielder's choice and 1 down for Duffy Lewis. So Lewis RBI in the first and safe on an error in the fourth. Stahl at first with 13 steals. So decent lead for Stahl off first as Plank checks the runner, brings it home to 1-2. Duffy Lewis pops this one foul behind the plate. Ira Thomas tosses aside the mask and catches the pill for out number 2. He said, JT Dutch says, I think if guys are truly good at stealing bases, he can live with a 340, 350 on base percentage if I need to. Oh, don't you want, Wordsworth Gamer says he doesn't want Vince Coleman. You mean you don't want some guy throwing firecrackers into the crowd? Fun stuff. Not so fun stuff. Vince Coleman, that was a bit of a dick thing to do, but there you go. Have him as a pinch runner? Absolutely. Vince Coleman was crazy fast. Just crazy irresponsible with firecrackers as I remember. So the story goes. Heine Wagner, perfect 2 for 2 today. 2 singles, 2 out. Plank deals the 2-2. And this one gets by Ira Thomas. Wild pitch. So Eddie Plank uncorks one. This one gets over the head of Ira Thomas, and Jake Stahl will move to second. So the count full on Heine Wagner. 2 down here, and a runner in scoring position. Plank deals. Wagner swings through this one. And Plank getting himself out of a little bit of a pickle. We go to the bottom of the 6th, and we're tied at 1. So Robbie Wertberg continuing to play some hockey. Rube Oldring, Jack Barry, and Ira Thomas due up here for Philadelphia. Both runs for these teams scored in the first inning. Bedienne with the 1-1. Oldring swings, fly ball. Speaker backpedaling and makes the catch. Just Speaker with incredible range. in center field. Of course, Speaker would, if this could accurately, with the ball flight and everything, Speaker would actually play very shallow in center field and had the range to go back on the deep ones. I would hope that Speaker is remembered both by Cleveland Indians and Boston Red Sox fan. I believe the Gray Eagle was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Was it 1937 or 39 for Speaker? I know it was in the 30s, but I can't remember when. I think it was the same class as Lajoie, if I'm not mistaken. And JT Dutch, world's worst gamer, talking some baseball. He says, oh no, world's worst gamer, absolutely. He says, by the way, guys, I was still smart enough to draft Wagner. Isn't like I passed on him. No, right? Exactly. Exactly. JT Dutch says, if I had Vince Coleman, 1985, he hit 8th. Tommy Herr would lead off. Ozzie Smith 2nd. Willie McGee 3rd. Jack Clark 4th. Andy Van Slyke 5th. Daniel Porter 6th. And Terry Pendleton 7th. It was a hell of a Cardinals team in 1985. It's my second favorite franchise, the St. Louis Cardinals. And as far as all of baseball, my favorite American League franchise, of course, the Detroit Tigers, and my favorite baseball team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And like the Reds, are going to suck this year. Oh well. Bedian delivers to Jack Berry, the 0-1. Berry sends this to left, but Duffy Lewis camps under it, and that is out number 2. Ira Thomas now at the dish. And he has struck out twice against Hugh Bedian, who is fan 6 in this game. Bedian winds and fires. Here's the 1-1 to Ira Thomas. Base hit right field. And Hooper and Speaker converging, but Hooper getting to the ball first. Fires it on to Steve Yerke. So Ira Thomas aboard. Only 4 steals in 1911. 2 down. Eddie Plank is nothing for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. Bedian winds and fires. 0-1 fastball. Plank. Routine fly ball to right. Harry Hooper has it. And that retires the side. 6 in the books. We're tied at 1. The line for these teams: for Boston 170, for Philadelphia 172. Boston is stranded 4. Philadelphia has left 8. Bill Kerrigan lead it off here, followed by Harry Hooper and Steve Yerke. Kerrigan has grounded out and bunted in, or actually grounded out, and then bunted to the catcher, and then it was into a second to first double play. That was a fun one. Eddie Plank deals. He's fan 3. Kerrigan on the 2-1 pitch. Bounding ball to third. Baker up with it on to McGinnis for the textbook 5-3 put out. 1 up, 1 down for Harry Hooper. Hooper is 1 for 2. Plank has the sign from Ira Thomas, the 1-0. Hooper chopper to short. Jack Berry has it on a nice bounce. And sets and throws to Stuffy McGinnis for out number 2. Steve Yerke's nothing for 2. Yerke's just 1 for 5 overall in the tournament. And today grounded to short and struck out. Eddie Plank fires it in. Here's the 0-2 curveball to Yerke's. And this one for extra bases. Danny Murphy giving chase toward the corner here at Scheib. Yerke's rounding second. He's going to go for 3. The throw for Murphy to cut off man Collins. Collins throws to Baker. Yerke's slides, and he is safe with the triple. So Yerke's gets to station number 3 with 2 outs. And Hugh Bedian, 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Bedian needs to knock a little flare here to put the Red Sox ahead here in the 7th. Plank brings it from the stretch. Bedian swings, grounded deep to short. Jack Berry making a nice play on it onto Stuffy McGinnis. And the Red Sox are turned away. Middle of the 7th. We're knotted at 1. Aaron Reed channeling his Harry Carey there, and I'm not even going to try to impersonate Harry Carey. We're going to have Aaron Reed on, hopefully, with us for Game 1 of our Ned McGreevy World Series beginning, and that would be Wednesday. But he's saying, let me hear you good and loud. So maybe we'll have him do that during the 7th inning stretch when Manchester hosts Philadelphia. Game 1 of a 3-game series to wrap up the to wrap up that project and retire it. Manchester winning the pennant. But we decided, why not have a little World Series between the first and second place teams? So Philadelphia and Manchester should be a good matchup. Home run Baker, 1 for 3, leading it off. The number 1, 2, 3 hitters for the Athletics. Single back in the 5th. Hugh Bedien for the Boston Red Sox putting on a hell of a performance here. He scattered 7 hits, just 1 run. His fan 6, walk 2. Bedien with the 0-1 to Frank Baker. Fastball. Baker knocks this one to right, and Hooper giving chase. Hooper throws it to cutoff man Yerkes, and it looks like Frank Baker is going to have a leadoff triple, the tag. And that one close, but he is in there. The head first slide, the hand getting in just a millisecond before Larry Gardner's tag comes down. So here comes Philadelphia looking to even up the series. Possible go-ahead run just 90 feet away for Eddie Collins. Collins finally getting a hit today. Singled back in the 5th. Bedien from the stretch in the 1-0. And they're going to intentionally walk Eddie Collins to get to Danny Murphy. Murphy, though, 2 for 2 at the dish today, but Red Sox perhaps thinking that Murphy a little less of a threat than Collins. I don't know. Questionable call. We do a little bit of press box managing here. So Eddie Collins also with incredible speed, 38 steals for him. Danny Murphy has singled twice and walked, so he's seeing Hugh Bedien very, very well. So interesting choice here. Bedien brings it. Danny Murphy swings, and he bunts. Larry Gardner has it. Goes to Steve Yerke to retire Murphy. So that's out number 1. Eddie Collins moves to second. So ducks on the pond, though, here for the Philadelphia Athletics, and 1 down. First base is open. Stuffy McGinnis waits at the bat. RBI double back in the 1st. Struck out in the 5th. Bedien from the stretch in the 0-1. McGinnis swings, base hit, left field, and that's going to be an RBI for McGinnis. The single. So home run Baker scores, and it is now 2-1 Philadelphia. Perhaps Boston would like to take that play back. And indeed, now Boston looking for a double play here. So Stuffy McGinnis at first with 23 steals. So Philadelphia some serious speed. In fact, the faster of the 2 teams, the Philadelphia Athletics. Chris Lord 1 for 3. Bedien from the stretch in the 1-1. Fastball. There goes McGinnis. Fly ball. Tris Speaker, can of corn. And McGinnis will retreat to first, and coming in to score is Eddie Collins. Philadelphia plating 2 here in the bottom of the 7th, and it's now 3-1. McGinnis at first for Rube Oldring, who is nothing for 1, nothing for 1. So he walked, sacrificed, and flied out. Bedien throws over. McGinnis back ahead of Jake Stahl's tag. Bedien's 1-1 delivery. Oldring swings, base hit left field, and here come the Athletics. McGinnis rounds second, and he will make third as the throw comes in to Larry Gardner. So runs at the corners, 2 down. Philadelphia threatening for more. 2 in here in the bottom of the 7th for shortstop Jack Berry. Nothing for 2 today, and including a nothing for 2 and a sacrifice. Bedien from the stretch and the 0-1. And there's our first hit. There's a hit batsman. So here we go. We had a number of hit batsmen. Actually, I think 3 in the game 1 between these two teams. So that fastball, Bedian, a little bit of headhunting. Not sure why, but a little bad blood between Boston and Philadelphia. As Ira Thomas steps in, 1 for 3. Thomas, of course, ejected back in that first game. So some bad blood between these two squads. Bedian from the stretch. Kerrigan quickly out to Bedian, has a word with him back behind the dish. The 1-2 to Ira Thomas. Thomas swings, fly ball to right, back on it. Harry Hooper just short of the wall, making the catch. However, 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and we have played 7 here at Shibe Park. It'll be later called Connie Mack Stadium. 3-1. Speaker will lead it off here for Boston. As JT Dutch says Bedian needs to be relieved of his duties. You got to think the ball just got away from him. You don't want to headhunt and load the bases, but so Philadelphia looking to even it up here, but still 2 innings to go. Speaker 1 for 3. The Gray Eagle singled back in the 3rd. Eddie Plank with the 0-2. Plank holding it, 3 strikeouts. And this is a can of corn to center to Rube Oldring. 1 up, 1 down for Larry Gardner. 2 for 3 today at the plate. Lefty waits for the payoff pitch. Gardner swinging on the 3-2. This one has some distance, but Briss Lord running back and making a nice catch for out number 2. Jake Stahl, a frustrated 0 for 3. Eddie Plank winds and fires the 3-2. Bounding ball to 3rd. Baker up with it quickly. Bang, bang play. It will not be. This ball gets away from Stuffy McGinnis, but Stahl will not advance. So the E6 allows a runner aboard here, and the tying run comes to the plate in Duffy Lewis, but 2 out. The left fielder with an RBI back in the 1st. Jake Stahl, 13 stolen bases for the Red Sox in 1912. Great World Series, by the way, which we did on the channel earlier this year. The New York Giants and Boston Red Sox, great World Series. Plank throws over, and Stahl back ahead of the McGinnis tag. Eddie ready to twirl it now again. Duffy Lewis, big swing and a miss, and that will end the inning. Nothing across. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's the Athletics 3 and the Red Sox 1 here in this Beatles Eternally channel, where we have Beatles Eternally channel, where we have a tired broadcaster, but 8 intrepid baseball fans in here hanging out with me after a 5-hour stream and going into about an hour of this one. So a lot of fun. Glad you guys are enjoying it. Hanging out, doing some Sunday baseball. Eddie Plank will lead it off here, enjoying a 3-run lead. Hugh Bedian has 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a hit batsman. Bedian delivers now to his mound opponent. And a little breaking ball chopped to short. Heine Wagner up with it. And the shuttle to Stahl, and this is a bad throw by Wagner. Stahl chasing it over to the stands. You've got that little angle over there. And when all is said and done, Eddie Plank is in scoring position. So Wagner with the bad throw. And now they're looking bunt from home run Baker. We're back at the top of the Philadelphia order. Baker 2 for 4 in the game. Tripled back in the 7th. I don't imagine Baker's going to bunt in this situation with a 2-run lead, but we shall see. Gardner in the 3rd. Stahl in at 1st. Bedian with the 0-1. Baker bunts, and Kerrigan will get the lead runner. He fires it on to Gardner. Nice heads-up play. I really expected Baker to swing away, but there you go. So 1 down for Eddie Collins. Eddie Collins really having a kind of disappointing series thus far. Bedian throws over. Home run Baker back. 38 steals for him in 1911. Bedian works to the left-hander. Collins, base hit to right. Harry Hooper has it. And Baker tearing around second, and he will make it to third as Harry Hooper's throw gets in. So Philadelphia threatening here again. Now in the bottom of the eighth, they played in 2 in the seventh, one way back in the first. Danny Murphy, 2 for 2. So Collins was intentionally walked for Murphy last time. And Collins, serious speed. Bedian hoping for the double play. You got to think Philadelphia's going to go steal here. Again, we're managing Philadelphia, but letting the computer call it for right now. 2-1 pitch. Danny Murphy swings, chopped to short. Wagner to Yerkes to Stahl, and that will erase the run coming home. So Philadelphia turned away, and we go to the ninth. Boston with 3 chances to try to tie it up here, or Philadelphia will even the series at 1. And this first round is a best of 3. Honey Wagner is 2 for 3. And he has 2 singles and struck out. Wagner, Kerrigan, and Harry Hooper due up for the Boston Red Sox. Eddie Plank looking for the complete game win. The line on him thus far, he has struck out 4. He has not walked a batter. 1 earned run charged to Eddie. Back in the first. Plank winds and fires the 1-2. And Heine Wagner lines this one right to Cocky Collins for 1 out. Catcher Bill Kerrigan, nothing for 3. Eddie Plank fires it in, the 1-0. Kerrigan, oh, great comebacker, a hard comebacker. Plank with lightning speed off the hill to his right and makes the 1-3 put out. 2 quick outs here in the ninth, and here is Harry Hooper. Can he keep it going for Boston? Can he start something? Boston down 2 here in the ninth. Hall of Famer versus Hall of Famer. Plank deals the 0-1. Harry Hooper swings, fly ball to right, and that's your ball game as Danny Murphy pulls it in, and Philadelphia evens the series at 1 each. Let's do a recap here for the victorious Philadelphia Athletics. 3 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors. For the 1912 Boston Red Sox, 1 run, 8 hits, 1 error. Extra base hits for Boston, Larry Gardner with a double. For Philadelphia, a double by Stuffy McInnis and a triple by Home Run Baker. Larry Gardner for Boston goes 2 for 4 with a double in a losing cause. And for the Philadelphia Athletics, Eddie Collins goes 2 for 4. Danny Murphy 2 for 3. And Home Run Baker 2 for 5 in a triple. Eddie Plank gets the win. Hugh Bedian gets the loss. Looking at our pitching here, just very quickly for Bedian, 8 innings worked, 11 hits, 3 runs, all earned, walked 3, struck out 6. Eddie Plank, 9 innings, 8 hits, 1 run. It was earned, and he walked 4, or struck out 4. No walks. Let's look at our miscellaneous. The MVP, Eddie Plank, and the game-winning RBI, Stuffy McInnis. That's it. So let's look at our playoff bracket. And this series is tied. So when we get to this sometime next week, our next game will be the 1904 New York Giants versus the 1908 Cleveland Naps. The Giants holding a 1-0 lead, and this series will shift to Cleveland. And that's it. Felipe Lima de Melo saying good game. And I think we're done, guys. Going to have a quick stoger here, and then we'll get out of here as we come up on the 1-hour mark. So just a recap of what we did earlier tonight for 5 hours. After finally acquiescing to the rather gentle persuasion given to the mavens of this particular channel, which means they browbeat me into doing it. Todd B., with the assistance of Big Clue, coming up with a great idea for a draft. using all of baseball history. In our case, most of it, 1880 to 2022. We have 12 managers. So we're using a random number generator, and you're drafting players, but by year. So for that first manager, maybe 1912 comes up. You pick any player from 1912. Second guy is ready to draft. He might get 1972, and so on and so forth. Couple rules in the league is if a year comes up 3 times, it's out of the running. And so far, we have 5 years out of the running. Second, you can have only 5 Hall of Famers through the first 23 rounds. Rounds 24 and 25 will be for Negro Leaguers. And then we'll have a supplemental sort of reserve draft for 5 extra players, as injuries will be turned on for that league for multiple day injuries too. I mean, let's make it tougher since we're selecting from all of baseball history. Um, no one game injury nonsense. Fictitious teams, real. So this is going to be a really, really fun draft, and the guys had an absolute blast. People bleary-eyed, falling asleep, but wanted to hang in there. And we're on the 8th round. We're on the 8th round now, and that's being done in Discord. We're returning Friday night for that. As far as this channel goes, no baseball tomorrow nor Tuesday. Game 1 of the Ned McGreevy World Series. Wednesday, game number 2 on Thursday, and then Friday night will be another draft night. And then hopefully we can get most of it done, and then we'll see about the weekend. So sorry about missing tomorrow and Tuesday, guys, but there's just no way I can get anything done on those 2 days. That's it. And Aaron's looking to the World Series game on Friday. Actually, it's Wednesday, buddy. It's game 1. So show you the program. So the progress we made in Action PC Baseball. Looking forward to that. World's Worst Gamer says, I read an Eddie Plank on my pitching staff. That draft league, that is for sure. Or you need an Eddie Plank. Yep. You're very welcome, Cousin Ken. He says, thanks for a good night. You bet, my friend. Always, my brother. So Aaron will be coming on for the Ned McGreevy series. Fun stuff. And everybody really, really getting involved. Big clue. Pretty much uh, the secretary of the league doing absolutely fantastic work, keeping track of all the years, everybody's draft picks, um, and along with Steve Tate, also providing great assistance, really everybody. And Aaron Reed's going to keep his Discord active. Well, that would be Wednesday again, my friend. I'm not. If I'm on the Discord tomorrow, it's just to say hello to everybody and see how things are going and see if there's any discussion. But no games, again, no games, no baseball tomorrow or Tuesday here. Um, Anyhow, I want to give special, because Robbie Wartburg, I mean, wait, he says, did I get, I did not, Robbie. I spent the weekend celebrating St. Patrick's Day and hanging out with my lady, as it were. I will get to it, man. I will get to it. So, um, we give Robbie a lot of guff here on the channel, but it's always good natured. It's always fun. Robbie having some trepidation, still learning about earlier baseball. But got to give him credit. He's done some good research tonight, good drafting. He's putting together a nice little team. So good job on you, Robbie. Keep it up. And you got what, 5 days to comb through Baseball Reference and maybe think, okay, you know what I would do, Robbie? Just a little hint for you. Maybe look at a couple dominant players from each decade. Look at it that way. It won't guarantee that the year will come up, but good chance though if so and so was dominant in that decade. We'll just talk about Wagner for a second, although he's taken, but we'll just use him as an example and pretend he wasn't stolen by World's Worst Gamer. Definitely a dominant player between 1900 and 1910, or 1901 and 1910, right? So let's say that, right, so all of a sudden, hey, 1906 comes up. Well, Hannes Wagner. So that would be one way to do it in 5 days. Just kind of study baseball reference, look for dominant players that you know haven't been drafted yet, and you have a pretty good chance anyhow. Without covering all the years, that would be nuts. However many years we're doing, my math sucks. But 100 and some seasons, right, around 140 seasons, we're drafting from. Yeah, Robbie. No, I haven't looked at it, but I did see that you sent it, so I will look. It's unfortunate that this can't be redone in Diamond Mine, but unless you want to spend the money, but their seasons are, they're not cheap. They're a little bit less expensive, but still, it's a lot. It's a hell of a lot of seasons to buy. And for baseball, for Windows, I mean, good luck if you can find Wizard. You probably could, but it'd be a huge effort because you'd have to create all those players from scratch. Because within 5.75, there's no way to create players. Trying to think. You could redo it, Robbie, if you have Pure Sim Baseball. The only problem is Pure Sim only goes up to 2015. So, I mean, so that covers all the seasons. You could do it in Dombrov. There you go, Robbie. If you wanted to, you want to duplicate this league in another. Since I know you're not an Action PC baseball fan, and I question your sanity on that, but okay, you could do it in Dombrov. Just do it in Dombrov baseball. Can let Richard know that you're doing it as a sort of thing. I think he would kind of like that. I would hope. So do it in Dombrov baseball. It's really super easy to create, to do fantasy leagues and that thing. Um, you wouldn't be able to do it in Baseball Mogul because Baseball Mogul doesn't um, do anything in the 19th century. So your options are a bit limited. Yeah, do it up in Dombrov. That'd be kind of fun. It'd be a great way to test how accurate it is because you're testing the Sports Illustrated baseball engine with some bells and whistles, lots of them actually. So, but man, everybody hanging out this late, that is awesome. Digital Diamond, thank you. Yes. Robbie, you have Digital Diamond baseball. Digital Diamond would be excellent for that as well. And yeah, it is especially yeah, it is. Now, I mean, the older version of Dombrov looked pretty nice, but yeah, Digital Diamond is a nicer looking game. It certainly is. Um, so yeah, thank you for that reminder. Digital Diamond, Robbie. There you go. I'm pretty sure you have it. And version 11, let's check Steam. I don't think anything says anything yet, though. Let's check Steam. Yes, thank you. Steam has woken up. And then we'll get out of here. Well, I don't know, Robbie. I haven't sent him an email yet because I mean I got home today and I crashed like hard. So um, I'll get an email to him tomorrow, today, whatever. It's 2:43 on a Monday morning now. So let's see. The Steam Spring Sale is going on, by the way, me buckos, and there's some good stuff in here. So yeah, I did actually. So, World's Worst Gamer picked up the Internal Cylinder, and Nobody Saves the World, Superfuse. Picked up a couple casual games. Picked up Dungeon Wizards, and the big haul for me, buddy. I picked up Total War Warhammer 3, so I have all three, and I really, really got this because I want the Immortal Empires campaign, and this is going to be uh, There's gonna be a lot of Warhammer on my other channel, and this is one of the games I really want to feature. Is Total War Warhammer 3. So yep. So picked up some few games, and yeah, every once in a while it's nice to turn off your brain and even play these little casual guys. But Super Fuse is a really cool ARPG. Nobody Saves the World, brilliant stuff. This looks neat, Eternal Cylinder. So I'm happy with the picks. I'm not picking up anything else. In fact, I think the Steam sale, spring sale, I think when does it end? I don't know. Is it tomorrow? Whatever. Or no, it actually ends on the first day of spring. So it ends on the 23rd. But anyhow, Digital Diamond Baseball. Let's look here at these recent games here to see if we get a release date on number 11. So this is what Mark needs to do. He needs to be able to, or he needs to sort of put product stuff, if Steam allows it, that hey, 11 is going to be out. Let's look here. Okay, there's version 11, and I do have it wish listed. Yeah, and so all we have is just March 2023. So, for cards and dice players, this is a really good game too because it allows you look at some screenshots. Since World's Worst Gamer is talking about it's easier on the eyes, it is. So there you're getting some quick looks here. We'll be looking at this game, um, the new edition once it comes out. Does some nice things that we'll get into. But one of the nice things about this is if you're a cards and dice player, let's just read the blurb because I'm too tired making shit up here now. Digital Diamond Baseball is a statistically accurate baseball simulator and tabletop board game companion. So the building game engine allows you to play games, series, tournaments, and entire seasons using players from any baseball season. Now this is weird. He says from 1927 to 2022. It's like he doesn't read his own copy. I have no idea because you can actually go back to 1871 in this game, but whatever. I don't know why that's saying that, but you can import and uses the Laman database, what have you. Anyhow, the board game companion feature allows you to bypass the game engine and manually play games using a favorite tabletop game. Like so, right now, and then it's saying here, digital Status Pro baseball cards are included for all seasons. So this is for the new one. So it's not saying that it's actually going to be. See, tabletop results can quickly be entered and integrated into the stats generated by the built-in game engine. So it looks like they're going to be including Status Pro, but you got to actually. So they're just there digitally. But that's cool. It's included for all seasons. And I'm guessing that's where the 1927 to 2022 comes in. Is I don't know that Status Pro goes before 1927. Maybe Clinton would tell me. I haven't played Status Pro in quite a while. So the included seasons contain as-played lineups, real-life schedules and transactions, left-right splits for 1954 to 2022, custom player ratings, again from that same year range, and ballparks with park factors and over 40 ballpark images. And ballpark images are easy to bring into this game, by the way. In addition, you can utilize the easy-to-use player library tools to customize your libraries by adding player pictures, logos, sounds, and custom play-by-play calls. You can also quickly and easily build your own custom seasons from scratch using teams, players from any year in history. So, okay, so now that ad copy makes sense between the 1927 to 2022. If you want to learn more, check out our comprehensive user guide, blah, 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 blah. Let's look at the community hub and see if we get any sense of a release date here really quickly. As World's Worst Gamer says, looking forward to having yet another card game to play on PC. Awesome, Status Pro. There's a question here about Negro Leagues that has not been answered. And somebody's excited about version 11. And, oh, we know who this guy is, don't we? I think we know who this guy is. No, we don't. I'm sorry. Or maybe it is. Is this Clinton? USN DP1. Yes, it is. Clinton Parks. It says, excited about version 11. He says, is everyone as excited about version 11 as I am? With the Status Pro gaming in here and the fact that Mark has done a wonderful thing and allow us to play our games using his platform is nothing less than fantastic. Hope he continues on with this endeavor. Can't wait to get my first games in. And then somebody answers, can't wait. So there you go, our Clinton Parks here. Let's give him an award. There we go. I have like points to give away, so oh, I don't have to on that. Okay, nice. So there, we'll give Clinton an award for that. That is Clinton. It is indeed Clinton. Yeah, I agree with you, World's Worst Gamer, that Mark is not at all active. And it would be really, really nice if he was. So, somebody asking about improvements since version 9, and Clinton, of course, I guess acting, showing him online here, anyhow. His version 11 is not out yet. Only true complaint is within the engine, not real smooth. So, somebody bought version 9 for $10, and he's been liking it, this person. But nothing really going on. It is kind of gets quiet here. And I believe it was version 9, I think, that he missed his Steam release date, which really hurt. And if I were Mark, I would definitely try to get this out. Try to beat out of the park baseball to the punch. But then again, I mean, I'm not thinking in terms of people in our community, but I'm thinking just for the Steam community, they're going to go. I mean, they're going to go. If we look at version 10, you're going to see it. So I mean, and again, it's out of the park baseball's been around a lot longer. So version 10, and I've been playing this since version 3. It was only been available for Steam. So 16 positive reviews, which is nice. There's a couple thumbs down. So in the wider Steam community, there's our own Al Red Sox fan who wrote a review on it, and we talked about that one night. Now, as opposed to Out of the Park Baseball 23, which has, um, yeah, so about 1,000 reviews. So this is going to catch a lot more attention on Steam. It'd be nice if, but again, you don't want Mark um, to rush this thing out. But this is a hard thing to compete against, though. It really, really is. I mean, come on, for a text-based sim, yeah, it's not MLB the Show, but holy frijoles. The only thing I really hate about it, I hate face gen. I think it's stupid. But anyhow, we'll see. I'm gonna buy it anyhow. Why the hell not, right? All right, guys. I guess that's it. I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to talk about really quickly, baseball wise, in terms of projects they're doing and stuff like that. As we wait for Out of the Park Baseball 24. And I am going to get in a game of that before we get into our draft Friday night, that's for sure. So, yep, good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. I guess that's it. So, hope you guys had a good time tonight. I know I did. And since we have a baseball game here, let's bring that up and we'll close Steam. All right. And exit that. I'll leave it like that. Anyhow, my big thank yous to World's Worst Gamer, Robbie Wartburg, Aaron Reed, Ken Castro, Felipe Lima de Melo, who I hope has joined our Discord, and JT Dutch. Always happy to see him in here and really glad, of course, Cousin Ken, really glad that JT Dutch is going to be part of this really cool, huge draft league. With that being said, guys, this one coming in an hour and 21 minutes. So see you around the batting cage, aka Wednesday evening, probably on a little bit earlier. For I figure Robert's viewers love RJO Network. Robert's a subscriber to this channel. I usually don't try to broadcast at the same time, but most of the people that go there aren't really going to be interested in the Ned McGreevy series. So, game one, Wednesday night. So, we'll have Aaron Reed coming in doing all his voices, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Till then, guys, see you around the batting cage. Be safe, play lots of games, and have fun. All right. Good night.